Welcome to episode 49 of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast. It's me, Tanner, and as always, I'm just happy to be here. I don't think we need to do an introduction to the episode. Let's just jump right in. So with that, this is episode 49 of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast.
How you feeling, man?
I feel fine.
Yeah.
Which is a lie. I feel like trash. I had my second COVID vaccine shot yesterday, and it was great. The guy was very nice about it, and it was easy. I got it at 10 a.m., woke up in the middle of the night, and it was almost as if death had greeted me at the front door. I was just in pain. But, you know, it's like one of those things where you also kind of like, you psych yourself up about it as well, because from all the stories that we hear the first shot's fine. The second shot, that's the one you really gotta look out for. Like,
you feel like you're already mentally preparing.
Yes. And so, like, all last night, I was like, is this it? Am I sick? Am I going, is this it? Is it happening? And turns out I was just tired. Maybe because of the shot, but also because it was time for me to be tired as a human being. But last night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was just pathetic. In the most, and let me just say this, in the most courageous way, because I saved a life yesterday. Mine.
Wow.
Yeah. By getting this shot. And maybe other people as well. But yeah, man, still, I think, yes, get the vaccine, but also watch out, because it's going to get you. And it got me good. But I've had some time. This morning, I had to do a radio interview. And it was a last minute thing. They were like, hey, can you hop on? And I was like, yeah, for sure. It'll be great. It was mediocre at best, which is kind of how I try to make most of my life, be able to make mediocre at best. We're aiming for that, and anything better. There it is. I definitely reached mediocre on this interview this morning, but it is what it is.
At least it's not Mayday Parade's miserable at best.
Great song. We are not able to have them on the podcast, but
sadly
if we did,
not.
We would talk to them about their song "Miserable at Best," which is a great song.
Yes.
However, I got the vaccine, but you got to be another year older.
I did.
How?
Yeah.
Did it happen when the moment you turned 30? Did everything that you eat just kind of like destroy your body? Are you a little bit more tired? Did you change your pants? Like, are you just saying things that you never thought you would say before? Because now that you're an older man, you know, it's just like, this is who I am now. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, you know, I feel like I've been on this kind of like dad joke wind up for several years. I just kind of had that reputation for a little bit now. And so on that end, as far as like, you know, hi, hungry, I'm dad type stuff, you know, it's like, I've been doing that for a little while. Fortunately, I was kind of bracing for any immediate like pain, just, you know, 5:15 in the morning, or roughly when I was born 30 years ago, just be like, just have something attack my lower back or something. And fortunately, I can say that has not happened yet.
Not yet.
I know it's coming, but it has not happened yet. So I've settled into the dad joke thing, settled into, I've been wearing cargo shorts. Well, no, that's not true. I not like 90s traditional dad cargo shorts, not yet.
Taylor, they are coming back.
Oh no, I know. I know.
I saw some article the other day. Like, it popped up on my phone, and it hardly ever does like a news article pop up on my phone. So this one was like pointed at me, like they knew. They're like, Tanner needs to read this. He's having some fashion issues. And they basically were like, here are the things that aren't cool anymore. And it basically described my entire wardrobe. Like skinny jeans. Now, mine are like super tight, but they're not cowboy pants.
Yeah.
Can't wear those. You can't like no-show socks are apparently out. Like skate shoes apparently out. Wearing the same thing over and over again is apparently out. So,
what?
Cargo shorts are in, man. So, time to dust them off. Bring it out, man.
Dust them off.
Time to put the wallet in the side pocket. Big
That's
time.
right. Oh yeah, playing with the big boys now.
Now, last episode, which episode 48, by far the best episode of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast, and we even had a couple of people send us some messages saying, "Yeah, that was the best episode." So thanks for your feedback. It's very kind. If you have anything that you'd like to say to us, you can send that to writtentospeak@gmail.com. Again, that's writtentospeak@gmail.com. However, this episode, now that you're 30, and now that I'm slowly dying because of this vaccine, which again, you should get the vaccine, but it hurts the next day. This is going to be the worst episode that we've ever recorded, hands down. It's going to be terrible.
Love that we just set the bar right there. We're not getting anybody's hopes up. We're not getting our hopes up.
Yeah, it's going to be mediocre at best. So, but
Katie, don't cry.
Don't cry. It is April 22nd. It's Thursday. This episode comes out April 23rd, 24th, something like that. It's National Earth Day.
How's about that?
This is like this is like a national holiday. Like, I'm pretty sure if you have a physical calendar, it's going to say April 22nd, Earth Day.
Yeah, there are like T-shirts and stuff.
There, T-shirts. Yeah. So happy Earth Day. What's your favorite thing about the Earth? What other kind of question am I supposed to ask? You know?
Yeah. Man, God did a really good job creating this thing.
Yes, I can't disagree with that. Although I've been to New Jersey. Hey-o. Hey. Now, of all the places that you've gotten to go in the world, do you have like a place where it's like, this is the most beautiful place that you've ever been to?
Man, yeah, I think that I've got to go with, I think the state of Washington, just in general. But I've gotten to go to two just absolutely gorgeous places. I think top for me was where my wife Mindy and I went on our honeymoon in South Central Washington State. Very small town called Amboy, Washington. Basically, it's like 45 minutes from Mount St. Helens, but you can see it right from there. It's gorgeous. I've also been to another part of Washington. I can't remember what it's called, but you could see mountains from there. So just trust me, that's just the worst, most general description. Washington's great. That's all I'm saying.
If you're looking at a globe, it'll be kind of raised up a little bit, that area.
Yeah. If you
to signify that there's a mountainous region.
If you're just feeling your way along the kind of Rocky Mountain range, once you get not quite to the top because you're in Canada at that point, but just a hair lower than that. Right about there.
Yeah, that's it. That's the spot. Now, if you were to ask me the same question, my immediate response would be Florida, because you have to say it.
Ocala is calling.
Ocala is calling. Man, we are just really taking that song through the ringer today, and I'm okay about it. Yeah. Although, if I think about the question a little bit further, I would say Idaho.
Idaho's pretty.
Just a majestic state. Basically, any place where somebody has probably said, I think that's where Sasquatch or Bigfoot lives, I'm going to say, well, it's probably a very beautiful region.
Yep.
So, right. Happy National Earth Day. There's two other things that we should mention about April 22nd. It's also National Jelly Bean Day and National Teach Children to Save Day. So...
Nice. Save
money.
Save money.
Or save jelly beans for when you get hungry.
I think I'd like the save money thing though. What a great skill to learn from a young age.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I probably should have learned early on. And maybe like the national teach children to ask the question, are you sure you need this before you buy it?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you sure that you need this NWO Sting action figure, Taylor? Are you sure?
Yes, I am. I'm 100% sure. I won't be happy if I don't have it. I'm thinking. I think I can think back to like my middle school and high school where I was like, oh, Blockbuster movies 3 for $20 because they're going out of business again. Fantastic. Let me get these 3 movies that I definitely need. I didn't need them. Didn't need them at all. Terrible. Yeah, absolutely terrible. Although speaking of Blockbuster, we did watch. There's a Netflix documentary out right now, and it's kind of funny that Netflix puts it out. But it's called The Last Blockbuster, and it kind of highlights the rise and the fall of Blockbuster, and now there's only one Blockbuster left, and it's up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, so, Oregon, right?
Yeah. Oregon, man, it's a great state. We got to go there sometime. We're going to do a live podcast from the state of Oregon where we have
the last Blockbuster.
Just from the parking lot of the last Blockbuster, we're gonna sit in a rental car huddled around a microphone. We're live.
I love it.
We are live. So, anyways, happy National Earth Day.
Yeah, man. Happy.
And I think the motto for the Earth Day is just happy to be here.
I think that's true. I think I saw a T-shirt.
Yeah, or it's you spin me right round.
we both have made it clear that we're over 30, right?
Yeah, and we've also made it very clear that this episode is going to be mediocre at best. And I can hear the listeners thinking right now, you're not even close, buddy. I'm about to shut this off. Don't shut it off, because right now we're about to share something. I feel like I'm doing radio right now. Don't go anywhere.
Don't touch that dial.
Don't touch that dial. Taylor, what did you recently Google?
Yes, because I did Google some things here. I also have to say, April 22nd, my wife and I have been married 8 months. Just going to throw that in there real quick. Today. Very excited.
Congratulations.
I did not Google that, though. Fortunately, my memory is not that far gone yet. But I Googled, because I had to Google directions to this place. My wife surprised me. Tanner, we were talking about my birthday last weekend. I've just had the most amazing wife, and she just is surprise after surprise, gift after gift. It was crazy. She is unbelievably creative, very generous. Anyway, she found this place out in Clive, Iowa, which sounds like it would just be at the edge of the world, and there would be nothing else once you passed Clive. But it's actually right next to West Des Moines, which is a pretty populous area. And we went to a place called Monarca Gourmet Paletas. Now, Tanner, do you know what paletas are?
Taylor, I don't know if you just heard this, but an ice cream truck definitely just drove by my house.
What? What timing?
Speaking of paletas.
Yes,
paletas.
Speaking of.
That's right. It's similar to ice cream, but it's not ice cream.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here, from my extensive research, we're talking about popsicles.
We're talking about gourmet popsicles, and what's cool about the paleta is that this is a traditional Mexican dessert, and it's got a wide spectrum from cream-based to fruit juice-based treats, and really the cream-based ones. You've got ice cream in your hand, is what you've got. You've got an ice cream bar, a very large ice cream bar. I had a Reese's ice cream bar with an actual Reese's cup just shoved in the middle of my paleta and frozen there. And it was, Tanner, I got to tell you, amazing. Absolutely worth the fallout from my lactose intolerance afterwards. 100% worth it.
Welcome to 30.
Welcome to 30. It's good to be here.
Now, I'm thinking about this. There's a lot of things out there that we just throw the word gourmet in front of. Gourmet popsicles. Gourmet popcorn.
Yep.
All right, those are the only two things that I can think off the top of my head. However, are we just kind of throwing this word around? Are we sure that it's gourmet? Or are they just calling it gourmet so that we'll walk through the door?
Yeah. You know, I would say a lot of times that's the case. They just slap it on there. They know people are going to show up. You know, it's like gourmet chicken nuggets. I'm like, okay. I'm actually
yeah. I am 100%.
Yeah. But for this little paletas shop, Monarca Gourmet Paletas, I don't think they're misusing this word. I think actually after my experience, spot on. If there could be such a thing as a gourmet popsicle, I think they nailed it.
All right, well, we're going to keep our eye on this situation. But we just want to let you guys know that we are now changing the name of the podcast one more time to the Gourmet Just Happy to Be Here podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
and
welcome.
It's not just a ploy to get people in the door either.
No. But welcome to the Gourmet Just Happy to Be Here podcast. So your wife surprised you with so many different things this weekend. Are you feeling the pressure for her birthday?
A little bit, but I've got some solid ideas cooking already, and I think I'm more excited now, because I feel like we're exactly here 2 months out from her birthday today. It's June 22nd. So I'm there. I've got some general ideas. We're gonna kind of just filter those down to some specifics, and I think we're gonna have a good weekend. So
I think here's what you should do. You should take her to this little gourmet popsicle shop out in Clive, Iowa. Now, she also surprised you and took you to go see a movie that we have to talk about.
We do have to
you
talk
guys
about this movie.
Went and saw Godzilla vs. Kong. Now,
oh man,
I have yet to meet your wife.
Yep.
However, would she go see this movie regardless? Or did she only go see this movie because she was with you?
She would only see this movie because she was with me. That's a little glimpse into the beautiful character of my wife,
yes.
And the generosity. And I don't even think that this is necessarily a movie that once it's out of the theater, I'm probably never going to see it again. Because this is a spectacle movie, Tanner. This is two titans, monsters, just duking it out. And I don't know that I would see it once it's on just DVD and Blu-ray.
I don't know if you need to see it twice.
No.
I watched it.
Yeah,
I think we watched it maybe on the same day, because I watched it and at home. It was on HBO Max, and I said, well, I'm not going to the movie theater anytime soon because it's hard for me to leave my house now. Because I don't have anything to wear. We've talked about fashion. I don't have cargo shorts. I can't go out. Although, if I'm wearing cargo shorts, you better believe I'm going to the movies, because I have pockets, just pockets full of gourmet popsicles, just stuffed right in there.
Overflowing.
I've got baggies of ice, and the popsicles are just smushed right in there. It was an interesting movie.
It was.
We are not by any means a podcast. We're a gourmet podcast, but we're not a gourmet podcast that reviews movies.
Right, no.
But if we were, I'm not sure I would have much to say about Godzilla vs. Kong, except for, well, you got to see it to believe
it. Yeah, If you like just a big old gorilla just taking on a big old dinosaur that breathes fire, you know,
it's just there were a lot of different plot holes and twists and turns, and all that to say, I'm just happy to be here because I have nothing else to add. But it was one of those movies that you watch and you're like, all right, I've seen it. So if anybody asks, hey, did you ever see Godzilla vs. Kong? I can say with certainty, has anybody really seen it?
Has anybody really seen it? Oh man. Well, Tanner, that said, that deep dive into Godzilla versus Kong in the rearview mirror from us. What did you Google?
I Googled, should I watch Godzilla vs. Kong? And there was an overwhelming... I just had a plethora of sites that said, yes.
Get in there.
So I had to. I've been working... I have a bunch of Word documents. And when I say Word documents, I mean Google documents. Of poems that I've started, but I just never finished them. It was like I was sitting there, I was thinking about something, and all of a sudden I was like, I should write a poem about this. And so I dug one of them up, and I was like, let me try to finish this and work it out. I rewrote the thing completely, but I started writing something about swimming, like swimming pools, and just trying to, basically the opening line is, have you ever felt like you're drifting further from the person you wanted to become? It's very serious, but then I go on to talk about swimming. And then I wanted to say something about pruny fingers, which the word pruny is just hilarious. At least to me. It's just a funny word. Yeah. I think it's funny. So I wondered if I was like, okay, so how does this happen? Like, how do your fingers become pruny, or your feet? Because I can remember being a kid, and we would swim all day, and then afterwards I'd be like, look, I have old man hands. And now, Taylor, I kid you not, it's gonna happen to you. You're gonna look down one day and be like, oh my goodness, I've got old man hands. Anyways,
just actually got old man hands.
Old man hands. But pruny fingers. This is what I googled pruny fingers. This is what came up. It says the medical community used to believe that pruning was caused by your fingers absorbing water.
Wait, whoa. Wait, hold up.
Like a sponge.
It's not? That's because that's where this is going, right?
Right. So are we saying that these doctors were not gourmet doctors? They're just regular doctors making these weird assumptions? It is now known that pruny fingers are the result of blood vessels that constrict below the surface of the skin. The condition is tied to the function of the nervous system. So, there you have it. So, if you're swimming one day, and you look at your hands and you say, these sponges are on my hands. They're not sponges. You're not. Nope, this is a condition that is tied to the function of your nervous system.
Which makes it sound serious.
Very serious. Very serious. But I would like to believe that it's just your hands absorbing water. Yeah. Because that feels better.
That does feel better. I like that. That's the box that is hung out in for 30 years. So I'm going to need that to just stay right in that box.
But I wonder, did somebody come up with that in the 1700s? The same doctors who were who would diagnose you with you swallowed a ghost. That's why you don't feel well. Drink wine for the next 24 hours and you should be just fine. That's the diagnosis. Your nose won't stop bleeding. We just got to cut it off. That's it. Right. That's all we got to do.
I wonder if you got a weird growth on your elbow. We need to put a leech on that. Have that just suck the blood right out of that thing.
That will do it. You feel bad after you eat ice cream? Well, how about a gourmet popsicle? You ever thought about that, kid? You ever thought about that?
In Florida.
Yeah, well, they still do that in Florida. You don't feel well? Have a popsicle, kid. That was my childhood. Not me not feeling well and my mom or dad being like, have a popsicle. But in the summertime, which is 9 months of the year,
right?
our freezer was just lined with those foot-long ices. Right?
Oh, those, buddy.
Little icy, I forget what they're called. Igloos, I think.
Igloos,
but they were delicious. And then you would just what I would do is I would put one in a cup and let it melt down and then just drink it.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Because as a child, what you really need more of is sugar. It's definitely...
And syrup.
Sugar and syrup. Gourmet sugar and syrup.
Absolutely. And just radioactive colors just going right down your gullet.
Taste the rainbow. All right. We had a question that was submitted in several weeks ago. And every time we got to this point in the podcast, we had talked way too much about something else, and it was time for us to go. But before we go, this question that was submitted to us is, how do you fill yourself while pouring into others? Now, you and I, we've had opportunities in the past to work at churches and with students and with communities of people, and a lot of it had to do with us either being up front or leading behind the scenes. So how do you answer this question? How do you fill yourself while pouring into others?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the big key is remembering that you're pouring into others. Why you're pouring into others is the mission that we've been called to as part of the church. And so part of the Great Commission, Jesus leaves us with this in Matthew 28. Go therefore, making disciples of all nations, baptizing in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Basically this gospel call. And so we are pouring into others because this is God's plan for the world, is that the church would just demonstrate this love that isn't going to exist anywhere else unless it's God produced. And so remember, why you're pouring in is because God has called us to the mission. And so he's the one that we have to run to. He's the source. He's the reason for the mission. And so he is also the source for the mission. And so we rhythms in my life, I have to come back. I don't always do them well, but I try not to overcomplicate this because it's very easy to do so. But just make sure in the busy seasons, there's going to be a lot of busy seasons. You've got rhythms of good community, of being in the Word of God, being in prayer, and then also look for those opportunities where Jesus rested. He was a really busy guy when he was doing his 3 years of ministry on the earth, and he looked for opportunities to strategically rest. And so continue to pour in. Remember your source. Go back to the source while you're in the busyness, but look for regular patterns of getting away, of unplugging from this strategically. And I think that's the part where I'm definitely, I think we all are, but definitely still learning and wanting to implement that better. But that's for me, those rhythms are huge.
Yes, yeah. I was, as you were talking, I was kind of thinking, I was looking back as my time leading, because I mean, right now it's me visiting places and speaking places, and not on a staff with a church around us. But even while I worked up at a camp and while working at a church, it's like who are you to empty yourself? Who do you think that you have all the answers, or that and there are plenty of times where I would burn myself out, but I don't know if it's appropriate for me to say, or right of me to say, that just kind of felt a little bit selfish or pointed in the wrong direction. Now there are definitely seasons where you work harder or you try to do more, like that happens. But I can remember my time just feeling absolutely burnt out. It's like, well, were you trusting in the Lord, or were you thinking that you have to be the one who does this?
Yeah,
or were you trusting in the people and the leaders around you when you could have been taking time off or something like that? So I think it's really important to trust the team of people around you, and to trust the people that you're working with and leading forward. But then it's also take the invitation of Jesus seriously, and that invitation is also to rest. And if you're not resting, it's gonna be really difficult to do anything else. And it's gonna be very difficult to lead well. And at the same time, it's how do you, and this is I've had to do a lot of work on this, is how do you see yourself? If you see yourself as the source, well, that's the problem. That's a problem. You're not the source.
That's right.
Jesus is the source. Now, you can be somebody who helps connect people to the source, and you can be someone who encourages people and leads them and guides them, but it's not about you. And that's something that I just need to remind myself time and time again. And even if you're not in a position of of leadership, but if you have people around you that you're investing in, like, take care of yourself. And if you would say something to them, do the thing that you're saying. Like I would tell people all the time, "Oh, make sure you're getting rest. Make sure you take time to read the Bible. Make sure you take time to pray." And all the while, I was just going, and just not taking my own advice, which is not good. And it was gourmet advice as well. Yeah, it's gourmet advice. It wasn't just advice. It was gourmet advice. Yeah. I think that's good. In like the, how do you fill yourself while pouring into others? I think that we always have to remember, like, well, like, who's in control of it all? And that relationship, your relationship with God, must come first. That's a gourmet relationship, right? That must come first, because if you like, it's going to be hard to. And I think we often see leaders fall or leaders burn out, and I think a lot of it is because they've kind of removed the source and have said, "Well, I can do this," and it's just hard to watch. It's hard to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find myself going back to this passage of Scripture a lot. But Philippians 4, the whole chapter is fantastic, where Paul is kind of he's climaxing these ideas that he's been unpacking for the previous 3 chapters. And then kind of this pinnacle that he gets to is verses 6 through 13, where he talks about what... and Paul, we know, went through a lot of stuff, and he says, "I know the secret," and I think I've even said this before on the podcast, but I know the secret: in seasons of abundance and in seasons of lack, I've learned how to be content. How is that possible? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that's, we love that on our refrigerators. We love that on coffee mugs, and it always translates back to. Philippians 4:13 always translates back to regardless of the season. This doesn't mean that you're just going to circumstantially be killing it, and that's what this I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me means. It means when you're not killing it, when things are hard, when things are difficult, what is the source? What is your contentment? What is your peace?
Or even when you're resting. Because I'm somebody
exactly.
I'm very bad at resting. And I might be better at it than I think I am, because I talk about being bad at resting so much that I have started resting. So maybe I should say I used to be really bad at resting, and now I'm not a gourmet rester, but I'm getting better at it. But like, just even the act of, I don't even know where I was going with this. It's that brain fog, one of the side effects. But like to be content while I rest. And this is the thing that I'm doing right now, and this is a good thing. And I think to be content means that you've learned how to battle comparison really well. Well, these people are doing this, and they're so much more successful, or whatever it is. But to be content with, well, this is what God has given you, and I'm going to take care of that really well. And right now, what I'm supposed to be doing is resting, because that's important. It's boring. It's boring. But you can still watch Godzilla versus Kong on HBO Max for the next week or so. So, no, those are good thoughts. Right. Those are good thoughts. Yeah, I think that's one of those things that I'm going to think about a little bit. I love that verse in Philippians. Now, obviously, I would put the next couple of verses up on a banner in a gym, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. that always makes me laugh. Right? You walk into like a middle school gym at a Christian school, and it's like big old banner. Yep. All things. There it is. I'm gonna make this shot.
I'm gonna win that middle school championship, baby.
Someone has to. Somebody has to. Taylor, it has been a joy to talk to you. It has. Likewise, I would say our spending time with you is always the best. It's not mediocre at best. It's gourmet time. I'm just happy to be here. I'm also just gonna go lay down on the couch because I'm exhausted now. This has taken all my energy today.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks everybody for sticking around and listening to the Gourmet Just Happy to Be Here podcast. If you have any questions that you would like for us to try to answer, or if you have anything that you want to share with us, you can send us a message at writtentospeak@gmail.com. We promise we read all of your emails and your messages, and I pass them all along to Taylor. He sees them, don't worry. I copy and paste it, send it right to him. He gets them.
Get him.
So, anyways, with that, I'm just happy to be here. Taylor?
Just happy to be here, man.
JHTBH. I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Just Happy to Be Here podcast. Before you go, make sure you check out the show notes for any kind of links or information. You can find writtentospeak.com. You can listen to Taylor's music. We, as always, are super thankful that you would take the time to listen to our podcast. We know that this is not a gourmet podcast. We understand that. We get that. But I gotta tell you, I love every week getting to talk to Taylor, and I love hearing from all of you who listen to the podcast. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of our little podcast community. We appreciate you all. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you soon.